Wow, we're almost late. A little bit late.
Little bit late. Look, somebody logged on right away. They were waiting for us. We apologize for our momentary lateness. We were perusing Eric's new stack of comic books and seeing what sort of goodies he had, and showing off my book that I got in the mail today, that Black Sun, that I completely forgot was coming.
Getting mail that you forget about, that's kind of like Christmas, right? You're like,
it is kind of like Christmas. I had it and I'm like, man, what is that? And then I got really excited because I got a box in the mail today too. And I was like, oh man, what is this? And then I realized, oh, this is just a tub spout for my bathroom remodel projects.
Not as fun, but
not as exciting as getting a book or anything, but it will let me put my bathroom back together. So that's a plus. So, all right, who we got? We got Dan is on here. Tyler, what's happening? And Alder, good morning. We have our coffee, sir. Tyler. We are ready. Do you have your coffee?
I got my coffee.
All right, just making sure.
Oh my God, it's way over there.
Hey, nice coffee cup. I like that.
Hey, yeah,
that's pretty sweet. Coffee
almost
cup.
Twinsies today again.
Oh my, yeah, I got my Guns N' Roses shirt on, not my Indie Invasion shirt. So, and there's Spaz. Hello, gentlemen. I think we only have gentlemen. If there's any ladies watching later, hello, ladies as well. Tim, hello. Oh, Tim's bag of D12s for Rain and Hell showed up. Nice.
That's always good to get dice in the mail.
Yes. And there's Mike. And Tyler submitted a scenario for Vexums. That's awesome. What game did you submit it for, Tyler?
Questions about that, so I'm excited to see it.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us what game you submitted it for. And Spaz said he'll see Alder's coffee and raise him with some Newfie Screech. I don't even know what that is.
Is that a Canuck thing, Spaz?
Must be. Oh, Batman miniatures game. Okay, cool. Very nice. That's a fun game.
I don't think I've seen anything in the bazaar for Batman miniature games.
Any of the superhero games, haven't seen anything. So something for Crisis Protocol would be good.
Yeah.
The DC Universe one, which is pretty much the same as the Batman one. Special rum from Newfoundland is what the Newfie Screech is. All right, nice.
Newfoundland.
Nice. I actually picked up some peach moonshine on our way back from Fernandina Beach. Peach moonshine. I do live in the South, so you know.
Ooh, I don't know about peach though.
It's pretty good.
Well, hey guys, welcome to Indie Invasion Shorts. This is Mac and Eric. If this is you joining us for the first time, our weekly little short show where we run our mouths, right? Did I get it right this time? Run our mouths about gaming topics or games. So if you guys have a game idea for us, email us, send it to us at indieinvasion@gmail.com.
Yeah, send it to us. Alder says he'll see your rum, Spaz, with rum and coffee. So yes, Dan, I know not all Southerners drink moonshine, but it is much easier to find moonshine in the South.
Yeah, I don't find that stuff up here.
Yeah, it's too cold up there. I'm telling you, it's too cold for everything up there. It's just too cold.
Not right now.
Well, no, not right now, but you'll be cold very soon. Very soon.
And I'll enjoy that till about January.
Yeah, and then you'll be done with it, especially as a mailman. So what are you working on, Eric? I mean, I know we only did Hobby Hangout Monday night, and you posted some pictures.
Well, let's see. I did get quite a bit of painting done on some of my last remaining minis, my demons I got to do for my second cabal for the Rain and Hell.
That you haven't even played yet.
No, I know. I'm trying to get together with Big Mike, and we're going to set up a game between his terrain, my terrain. We have plenty. That's the other thing I've been working on is my Sigmarite graveyard.
Yep.
So they're all primed. I just got to start painting it, but that's going to be easy. Dry brush it gray. Done.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I've been doing lately, and reading a little bit, reading some Urban Manhunt for a second time, kind of reading through the playtest stuff that Cynthia sent over.
Yes.
So it's pretty neat stuff there.
Well, I checked on Drive-Thru RPG today, desperate to get the paper copy of the companion because I have the PDF, but y'all know, Mr. Hard Copy, I got to have the book. I have the PDF. I don't even think I've looked at it. because it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. So I'm excited to get my hands on that. But I did go ahead and pick up that's right, Mr. Hard Copy. I did go ahead and pick up. She has this little 1980s techno soundtrack on Drive-Thru RPG.
Yeah, I think
I went ahead and picked that up just to support and throw it on in the background next time I play. So that should be fun. Other than that, I haven't been working on too much. I hurt my wrist really bad, so I couldn't do too much. But I got a little bit of work done Monday night on Akara for the Drowned Earth, the mounted Akara. I got her steed. I got a lot done, probably 80% done. So just going to add some little last-minute details and eyes and horns and all that stuff in the saddle. And that's what I got done.
Okay. Well, shall we jump in to tonight's topic? We're doing a topic tonight, guys. And this kind of came up during our, was it last week shorts when we were talking about?
I don't know. I have a bunch of kids and school's starting, so it's just it all blurs together.
And it was a question that was brought up, and I'm gonna throw Spaz under the bus because he brought it up, and it got the wheels turning. So tonight, let's talk about agnostic. Right?
Yeah. And we've talked about it off and on in the regular podcast, in shorts, in just some of the chats, but we never really just focused on talking about miniature agnostic games. So we thought we'd take the time here and do a couple of things. One is throw out a whole bunch of them that we are aware of. And I am sure that there's a whole bunch more. And if you guys know any, please let us know, because that is exactly what I need, is another rule book to read.
Well, you should have all the minis already, right?
That's why I need another rule book to read. Hey, look who joined us. It's Wayne. We got two
Wayne?
From down under. Hello, sir. How are you? Glad you could join us.
So let's talk agnostic. What is a game with agnostic minis? So I did some Google foo, and here's what I found. Having a product that's agnostic means having a tech solution. Tech doesn't apply here, but that's able to interact with any systems or any products of the same category.
So you went to Webster's dictionary is what you're saying.
That's probably where Google pulled it from. I say, Google. My phone's going to set off if I yell it too loud. It'd be like, what? That was kind of a basic meaning of what agnostic is, and I just saw some of my lights fall behind me.
Nobody would have noticed that if you hadn't said anything. You know that,
I had to call it out. So examples, we got a big list of examples for you guys. Mac was busy typing all these different games that he probably has all the rule books for.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have most of them.
Most of these? Okay.
Most of them. There's a couple, though, that are kind of all-encompassing. And I'll throw those ones out there first. And that's 3 companies, actually. And that's anything from 2-hour war games is going to be miniature agnostic. And you can Google them. And a lot of their stuff is free PDF to download. Anything from Ganesha Games, which, if you're familiar with Song of Blades and Heroes, and I'm going to tell you the guy's first name because I cannot say his last name because it has 3 consonants and like 14 vowels. So I'm not even going to try, but his name is Andre. And but he is the creator of the Song of Blades and Heroes engine.
Okay.
So his games kind of jump across everything. So he's got zombie games, he's got werewolf games, he's got space games, he's got fantasy games. He's got one of them, my favorite rule wise is, they're all the same rules, but theme, I guess, would be giant samurai robots. So basically you're playing every 1980s Japanese anime Voltron kind of thing. And then most of the stuff from Osprey tends to be agnostic. The Rampant series, the stuff like I think drawn a blank now on the games, but the Blue Book series. Everybody that is familiar with Osprey games is familiar with the Blue Book series, and the majority of those are miniature agnostic. but those are the ones that I probably don't have because I don't have all of the Osprey books or all of the Ganesha books. I do have a lot of Osprey and I do have a lot of Ganesha books. I don't actually have any 2-hour war games, but looking at that list we threw together, what are a few of your favorites? And if anybody that's watching has any favorites that are agnostic, throw them up there and I would love to see yours.
Let's see. So here's one right off the start that I still do not have the books for. It keeps ending up in my shopping carts wherever I'm at, and I always take it out for some reason. But that's The Last Days Zombie Apocalypse. It's just, me and zombie games. Let's see what else you got. Star Breach, which until I really read the book and we deep dived it, I didn't know about it.
Right.
I'm not a big sci-fi guy, but I really like the system in that.
I think Eli was really smart when he did that, the author, because he played to those the 40K fans.
Oh yeah,
and the Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
and I don't know about you, but I've heard the discussion a million times about whether or not a Jedi could beat a Space Marine and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. Now you can solve the answer on you. Now you can solve it on your tabletop.
But then you got like Carniverse, which I still want to try. One of my favorites, Urban Manhunt. What's else? There's Rain in Hell. Outbreak. That's another neat one. Supers, which I really want to try.
Yep, and that's where Elasta Ape has been making many appearances on Spaz's table. Is in Supers.
And then of course you got like Gaslands, something that everybody has tried at least once.
And you don't really think about it being miniatures agnostic, but when you can go spend 94 cents at the store and get yourself a miniature. That's pretty miniatures agnostic and cheap, and I have some right here on my desk.
So what about you? Any of these ones that jump out to you that
oh yeah. So I really like Rain in Hell. Obviously we've been talking about that, but I've been on a Horizon Wars kick too, and I like some of the really obscure stuff. Like I put on their Turnip 28, which is a downloadable rule set. You can download that, and I've downloaded my copy and printed it and read a little bit, but it's a silly and dark kind of thing. And to borrow a term from our friend Josh at Zombie Smith Games, it's a little bit grimsicle. It's a little silly, but still kind of grim. Of course, Urban Manhunt for me, and I really like Ragnarok and Battle Space.
Okay.
Battle Space was a really fun game made to be played solo. Like that is the intent of the game. You can play it with more people, but the intent of the game was solo. And the only thing about it that doesn't appeal to me is that it's modern. And I'm just, for me, I'm just not a big modern theme kind of guy. So that's my 2 cents on that list. But it's a huge list. We got Billion Suns on there, Oathmark, Reality's Edge, Inept, Supers, like we said, Star Breach, Stargrave. And I got to thinking about that, though. Stargrave is one of those partly agnostic games that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So, yeah, Mike threw up there Stargrave, too. And Tim said, miniature agnostic with solo rules are really the ideal game for me.
And nowadays, that's kind of what a lot of us are having to do. I had to do that within the last year, is basically play myself and kick my own butt.
Well, I'm gonna throw it out there that I can cheat because I do have a lot of kids, and I am not above blackmailing them and offering them extra video game time if they'll play a game with me. So, but because I really like solo rules. I think they're brilliant. I think it's really smart for designers to throw them in there. But I like playing a game with somebody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I just don't have the gumption to set up a table and put everything out there and play solo.
That's because I want to hang out. That's why a lot of us play games, is for that interaction with community and and have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big reason I got into gaming, was to get out there and meet people and have fun and make friends. And I dragged my son along when he was 10 years old to get him, he wasn't so quiet and shy around people. So, and it can be a family thing too. But you know what, you guys, I am going to copy this big old list Mac made. And if you guys are in the chat, I'm going to throw it in the chat.
There you go. That's a good idea. So the next question is, why get into an agnostic game? And a lot of it comes down to and look at everybody. Everybody's saying the same thing. They're like, "Yep, interaction, interaction, interaction." I think if you really had to nail down one thing about every game, I don't care if it's the biggest 40K down to the most tiny, self-produced, self-published, self-typed, self-printed book, that it's ultimately the same thing. Everybody wants to interact. I mean, that's how we're wired. We're relational. But the reason to get into agnostic games is, especially for many collectors like you and I, sometimes there's that big old list. That's it. What are you pointing at?
I'm trying to point at you. You're on this side.
Oh yeah, that's so hard to figure that out. Like left is right and up, and I don't know where I am. Anyway, for miniature collectors like us who just love cool models, it's like, wow, I got to get that model. I have no idea why. I just want to paint it. Like when we got hooked on Burrows and Badgers,
it was the minis.
Yeah, it was just cool models. But then you find yourself trapped in this situation where you have these drawers full of models, and you're like, I don't even use
nothing
them.
about that.
Yeah. No, I know you don't. But you're like, I don't even use them, and I love the models, but I don't use them. So those miniatures agnostic games really, really give you an opportunity to start digging around in whatever your miniature drawers are. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I've liked about them is because it lets you do that. I'll dig through my unpainted drawers. My it's not a pile of shame, because I'm not ashamed of it.
A resource.
That's right. It's just I'm just managing my resources. But I'll dig into that. And with a miniatures agnostic game, it's like I'm not looking for this Space Marine or this fighter or this whatever. I'm looking for whatever looks cool that's going to fit the bill, and that's really fun to me.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at these minis because they're cool, and you're going to worry about the rules later, right? It's just that a lot of times, I look at these minis and I'm like, man, that's cool. What can I use it for? I'll worry about it later.
And it's funny because I was thinking about this too, is I don't think that this would have worked 30 years ago. All the agnostic games that are out there.
Yeah. The minis were very tailored to whatever system or game.
Exactly. All that stuff wasn't out there. And all of the here's the funniest part of that. All of the people that first got into the gaming way back then, 30 plus years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it was, that got into it a long time ago, we all remember this, right? Going into the game store and you were young, you could buy a blister pack, and then you were broke. That was it, unless you had birthday money or something. Then you could buy 4 or 5 blister packs, right? Well, now all of those people that were buying one blister pack at a time, we're all grown up now, and we all have jobs. And it's like, you know what? I can go buy a whole army now if I want to. So I think that's contributed to those piles of those resource piles. That's what we're going to call them. It's not a pile of shame. It's a resource pile.
A resource. Yeah. Yeah. Cause you're not as gun shy about spending that and worrying about.
I think when you're a hobbyist, you set aside disposable income. You know what I mean? I budget for it. It's like, I want this, so this is what I want to do. I'm going to save my money for this. And even though I'm 47 years old, I still wait for Christmas, because I know somebody's giving me some Christmas money. Somebody's giving me some Christmas money, and that stuff is going right back into the hobby.
Or I like here, Tyler said this, and this would work for what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Pile of opportunities. And Aller asked if we have a list of companies that just produce minis. I don't, but I
put something together.
Yeah, we could probably put something together and throw it up in the Discord and on Facebook or wherever. We should make a coffee cup on Redbubble that just has all of the different games. I mean, you can't click on it, but it would still be cool. Anyway.
It'll remind you of what you have to look into.
That's right. Yeah, and then other resources, Patreon and Kickstarter.
Oh, don't get me started on like Patreon and even Etsy. Etsy's really good for resources for people that are doing their 3D printing. They buy the rights to just the file for printing it. And then, I got a couple minis that way.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I haven't bought any from Etsy, but I've printed some. So, and I've backed some Kickstarters, Wayne, that were for that reason. I mostly did it for terrain, but how much postage for the mug to Australia? I don't know, because it's through Redbubble, and I don't know if they do distribution from anywhere else. So you would have to check, but I am not sure, man.
Yeah, I don't recall.
I'm not even sure how I would check that, but I can look and see a little bit later, and we can post it up in the Discord if I can figure any of that out. Be happy to. But yeah, so then we talked about too, there's a couple different kinds of agnostic games. You got your fully agnostic games, which is 90% of what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And then the partly agnostic games. And you guys have heard us say this a million times, is I think the one that started it out and did it right was Sean Sutter at Relic Blade.
Mm-hmm.
I think that his approach to it of having a miniatures line and specific models for it lets you continue to sell. You're selling more and more product with the miniatures, but it's also agnostic, because it's like, okay, we've got these 25, 30 miniatures and we've got these cards, but we've got 40 other hero cards that don't have miniatures that you just get to use whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really cool that he has enough of a miniature line to get you started.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about trying to figure out what am I going to use. Let's just play, and you could just play with those for a long time. But
absolutely.
Then once you get used to the system and the game, and you get into it more, and you have more of your buddies that want to play the game, then you can build it out, build up, and try different stuff. So I think that's a neat idea.
And some of those partly agnostic games, at least a few that I'm aware of, like Pulp Alley does that. It's any miniature you want, but has a miniatures line. Relic Blade, Black Sun, the one that I just got, they have specific miniatures, but you can use whatever. You just need Vietnam and Cthulhu models, and that fits the bill. It doesn't have to be something specific, which kind of leads us right into the next part, which is, take it away, Eric.
So we're going into the pros, right?
Right.
So first pro to playing an agnostic game is you can use any mini collection that you have already or want to get. So you can use the same minis for like 5 different games that's in the same theme. And we've mentioned this before. So for example, a sci-fi Star Breach, right?
Right.
You get minis for that. You can use them in a couple other different space star, whatever.
Zone Raiders, Stargrave. This is not a test. You could, because some of that apocalyptic kind of crosses over sci-fi. Mm-hmm. Those models kind of do that. And I think that one of the nice pros about that is it's easy to target that huge audience, which is the GW audience. Because if you're throwing a sci-fi rule set out there, they already have plenty of models.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it makes it easier for those guys to transition to another game, still play their 40K, but transition to another game and try something a little bit different without having to make this huge financial investment. Because the reality is, for everyone in this list and everyone that's watching that's played 40K, love it or hate it, it's a big investment, because you have to have a big army. So if you don't have to make an investment, you can just grab all of your Space Marines or your Demons or your Dark Eldar or whatever it is and throw them on the table with a different rule set. A lot more likely that someone will try that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I like the fact, like with Rain and Hell, I was looking for demons and stuff, and I pulled out my old Ogre Kingdoms from when did that was like late 90s, early 2000s. I don't think I've been able to use them since then.
Right.
So they kind of just sat in a display case, and I'm just like, man, I love that model. I wish I could use it.
Yep.
Now I can.
Yeah, and I pulled out for my Rain in Hell Cabal, I pulled out 40K demons, some Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, some Horror Clicks miniatures, and some stuff from not Reaper. Now I'm drawing a blank.
See, now that actually reminds me, you say
Heresy miniatures. I had to look over. I have the sticker on the wall. Heresy miniatures.
The Clicks games, if I do ever get into diving, and I've just read the rules a little bit, supers, I'm rating my hero clicks that I have
Oh yeah.
from over 20 years ago.
Oh
I'll
heck
just
yeah.
pull them off, put them on a clear base or something. I'm good to go.
Oh yeah, because I've got a mess of those guys
They're
too.
not worth anything, really. I mean, not at this point.
Yeah, not really. And honestly, I will say this: underneath that horrible paint job
Ooh.
are actually some pretty good sculpts.
Yeah.
Because if you strip them and then you repaint them, you're like, wow, that's really not a bad sculpt. So there's that out there too.
Okay, and what else? We got another pro here. So it's easier for game developers to concentrate on the game system, so they can really make sure they hit all those, cross the T's, dot the I type of stuff.
Yeah.
And, because it can be a big investment of money and time to kind of go into the minis line to go with the game. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's for a company or a designer that's really small, out of their garage, they're a one-man team.
Yeah.
Or if they're just getting started, that's their option. They have to do that. And then maybe if things go well, that's something they can invest in and get into. So,
right. Definitely. Tim asked, is there any mini agnostic games that have rules that would let me use the 40K vehicles? That is a good question. I want to say I thought I saw something for Star Breach, but that I may be off on that. But I do know that so Grunts is a miniatures agnostic game that I really like. Now it's technically 15 millimeter, but there's no reason you can't play it at a different scale. And that game would be, I actually, until you asked that question, Tim, I never even thought about doing Grunts at 28 millimeter, but that would be so epic. That would be so cool. Mike said War Surge is one that does that. No Star Breaches, skirmish troops, no vehicles. I didn't, Spaz says, I didn't remember if they had added something. I know Zone Raiders did an upgrade downloadable supplement on the website.
I'm actually looking at the Zero Dark stuff that we covered just last week. And I think one of the expansions that he had come out gave you additional rules for vehicles, the big robots or monsters.
Right. And that's what Zone Raiders did. Was Zone Raiders, I know, has big stompy robots. So Spaz says Supers has some, and Alder said you can scale up Gaslands and race them.
There you go.
Rhino race.
That would be kind of fun.
That would be interesting for sure. That would be interesting. But we all know the orcs are going to win because they're going to paint their stuff red because red makes stuff go faster. That's just how it works, right? So what are some of the cons?
So some of the cons, it's hard for a game to flourish without a line of minis. We've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
They kind of have to rely on supplements in different ways that they publish to play the game.
Right.
And that's kind of something that Urban Manhunt is doing right now. Cynthia has one, I guess you call it expansion, out now, and she's working on more to kind of flesh out like a campaign type of system. So, I mean, it's harder for them to keep going if, you buy the book and then it's okay, then what? And I know you've brought this up plenty of times. And then a second con would be, could be wonkiness in a rule system with the differences in minis. Now, this is a kind of a question that came up last week when we talked about movement in the different base sizes. And it also depends on the level of competition, I think, of the game being played.
Yeah, I think that's what most affects any sort of disparity between miniatures, bases, movement, is how competitive the game is going to be. Because when you're telling the story and you're doing a narrative, you don't need to be as precise. You need rules, because if you don't have rules, then you don't know, you can't determine the direction of the story. So you have to have the rules, but they don't have to be as ironclad if it's not going to be played competitively. You know what I mean? Because then you're not going to, because when you come in those narrative games, when you come up with what are we supposed to do right here? You use, I think somebody mentioned it last time, you use the Gaslands rule, maximum carnage. Whatever causes the most carnage is what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's Tyler said there's a game called Speed Freaks for racing, probably for racing your 40K vehicles. But if you're going to race 40K vehicles, you may as well try to track down a copy of Gorka Morka and go really old school. I mean, come on. If you want to, especially with those new orc buggies, those would be epic in Gorka Morka. But anyway, I digress. That is definitely not miniatures agnostic. Although there's no reason you couldn't race your rhino in Gorka Morka. There's no reason that you couldn't do it. So I think like you hit on both of them, but to me the biggest one, because I like going to conventions and pushing independent games, it's always a lot harder to push the independent game that doesn't have miniatures,
because people are collectors. If they're interested in a game, they're going to want to get all the minis that go with the game. So that's the usual way it goes.
Yeah, I think that's all of us. And is that a bad con? No, I don't think so, because I think the majority of the people that are doing this that's not what they're after. They don't want to become, I mean, they wouldn't be sad if they became the next Games Workshop as far as how much they were selling.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say no to that, but it's not their goal. They're putting out material that they love and that they essentially just want to share with everybody. I think one of my favorites is Star Breach, with how the creator Elijah Kellogg went with that one. If you go on his website, it says that the rules will always be free, period, because he just made a game and wanted to share the game. Yeah. And it just got a little bigger and bigger. I know Spaz was jealous of my hardcover book, but he had initially gone to Kickstarter for it, canceled it like a day after it started. And I was like, no. But then what he did was he opened it up on the website, free fun forever. That's what it was. He opened it up on his website and had basically a pre-order for it. And you paid for the book. So he had enough to cover the cost of all the books, and then shipped them out. And it was a limited number. And
I'm kicking myself for that, because you sent me the link for that. And
of course I did.
I had it open on my phone forever, like many of my windows. And I just I forgot about it. Didn't do it. I don't know
what to tell you. I mean, I can go grab my book and show it to you, and I can show you the little number up in the corner.
I mean, you tried bringing that horse to water, but you just
I did. I couldn't make you drink, though, man. I couldn't make you drink. But we made Spaz drink real fast when we told him about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Sorry, Spaz.
Sorry I didn't get to you earlier, Spaz, so you could have a copy of the book, of the hardcover of the book. I am sorry. I wish we could have corrupted you sooner. I mean, told you about the game sooner.
Well, I think that's about it for Agnostic Talk. If you guys had any comments or questions and want to continue the conversation, feel free to send us an email at indieinvasion@gmail.com or join us on Discord.
Yes, please.
We'd love to get some conversation like this stuff going in the Discord. And of course, you can just post your projects, what you're working on in there. That's kind of what we use Discord for, right?
That's right.
But I think we're going to wrap it up for today's show. Shortest 30 minutes of gaming talk, right?
That's right. Well, geez, thanks, guys. Tyler said, enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for all you do. Cool, I'm not exactly sure what all we do.
we make their wallets feel a little lighter.
Yeah, well, we do that to ourselves, too. And Wayne said, be good. See you next time. I don't know if I can do that first part, but I will definitely see you next time. That's for sure. All right, my friend, it is your turn to take us out today. I'm even going to try and be good on the banners.
All right.
I'm going to do my very best.
Thanks for joining us this week. As always, you can find the rest of our Indie Invasion podcast audio stuff on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pocket Cast. Whew, that's a lot. And check us out. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. And drop us a line at indieinvasion@gmail.com. And go like, share, subscribe at all those places. And also check out CoastalCon website at coastaltext.com, where we have all these links to these places. You can actually listen to episodes there. We have links to our friends and partners of the show that do some merch for us and whatnot. And actually, there will be news pretty soon of Coastal Con on there, so you may want to check that out. And if you want to support us, we really appreciate if you visit Patreon at Patreon/Indie Invasion. You throw a couple bucks our way, we appreciate the support, but you don't have to throw a couple bucks. You can enjoy what content we have on there. We post a bunch of videos and different stuff on there that anybody can view. But if you feel like you got to put some stuff on you or you need something to drink out of, please visit our new redbubble.com people Indie Invasion to get all Indie Invasion merch.
Yes.
If you need a shirt, a hat now,
a
coffee
hat,
mug,
a
maybe
hoodie.
you just need a nice pillow to sleep your big old head on.
That's right. Or a
You'll
clock.
find it. Or a clock.
An iPhone cover. We got you. We have got you covered, or Redbubble has you covered anyway. We just threw the artwork up there. So
yeah. But that's it, guys. That's going to be about it for this week. Until next time, you guys out there digging through mini bins, prepare yourself for the invasion.